Picture this scenario, because I'm willing to bet almost everyone listening to this has felt this exact moment deep in their stomach at least once. You're driving to work, maybe already a few minutes late, mentally calculating how much trouble you're in if you miss that morning meeting, when suddenly the check engine light turns on. Your heart sinks instantly. You already know what this probably means. You know, logically, that fixing the issue right now would cost around $300. It's not great, but it's manageable in theory. Then you open your banking app, and reality hits you in the face. You don't have $300. You don't even have $100. You have $42 to your name until Friday. So you do what millions of people do every single day. You ignore the problem. You turn the radio up a little louder to drown out the unfamiliar rattling sound coming from under the hood. You tell yourself it's probably nothing, and more than anything, you hope. 2 months pass. Because you didn't have that $300 back then, your car eventually breaks down on the highway. Now you need a tow truck, which costs $200. The small issue you ignored has cascaded into a larger failure, destroying your transmission, and now the repair bill is $2,000. On top of that, because you don't have a car, you miss 2 shifts at work and lose another $300 in wages. That original $300 problem has now exploded into a $2,500 catastrophe. This isn't bad luck. This isn't irresponsibility. This is math. This is the very real, measurable, suffocating cost of not having money. My name is Bobby, and I spend far too much time thinking about the hidden mechanics of wealth, about the invisible equations that keep most people working harder every single year while their bank balance stubbornly refuses to grow. If you feel like you're putting in more effort than ever, but still living one unexpected expense away from disaster, or if you feel like one bad Tuesday could completely derail your entire financial year, then you already understand what I'm talking about. And today, we're not talking about stocks, crypto, side hustles, or get-rich-quick fantasies. We're talking about something far more insidious. We're talking about why being broke is actually one of the most expensive states a person can exist in. Here's the part that most financial advice gets fundamentally wrong. We're constantly told that wealth is the result of discipline and that poverty is the result of bad habits. We're told to stop buying coffee, to cancel streaming services, as if saving $10 or $12 a month is going to fundamentally change the trajectory of someone's life. That advice completely ignores a brutal economic reality known as the Boots theory of socioeconomic unfairness, a concept popularized by Terry Pratchett through the character Sam Vimes. And honestly, it explains the wealth gap better than most economics textbooks ever could. The idea is simple. A rich man can afford to buy a $50 pair of well-made boots. They're properly stitched, made from quality leather, and they last 10 years. A poor man can't afford $50. He only has 10, so he buys the cheap boots, the ones made of cardboard and glue, and they fall apart after 1 season. The next year, he buys another $10 pair, and the year after that, and the year after that. Over 10 years, the poor man spends $100 on boots, double what the rich man spent, and still ends up with wet feet. That's the math of being poor. You are forced to pay a premium simply because you lack capital. And this isn't some abstract metaphor. This dynamic is everywhere in modern life. Take something as mundane as toilet paper. If you have $50 available, you buy in bulk from a warehouse store, and the cost per roll might be 50 cents. You're set for months. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you don't have $50 to tie up in household supplies. You have 4. So you buy the small pack from the corner store, where the cost per roll is $1.50. You're paying 3 times more for the exact same product purely because you're broke. This is known as the poverty premium, and it applies to groceries, diapers, detergent, household goods, and almost every non-perishable item in your life. If you're poor, your personal inflation rate is higher than everyone else's because you're permanently locked out of economies of scale. Then there's the banking system, which quietly punishes you for every stumble. If you have $10,000 sitting in your account, the bank treats you like a valued customer. No fees, no penalties, maybe even a small amount of interest. But if you're struggling and you have $20 in your account and a forgotten subscription charge of $25 hits overnight, the bank doesn't show you compassion. It hits you with a $35 overdraft fee. You effectively borrowed $5 for a day and paid $35 for the privilege. That's an annualized interest rate of around 700%. If an individual did that, it would be considered predatory lending. When a bank does it, it's labeled a service fee. Billions of dollars every year are extracted this way, almost exclusively from people with the least financial cushion. The rich earn interest, the poor pay interest. It's a steady transfer of wealth from the bottom to the top, hidden behind fine print. Psychology makes this even worse. When someone is under constant financial stress, studies show their effective IQ drops by about 13 points, roughly the same impact as missing an entire night of sleep. Your brain becomes consumed with short-term survival. Long-term planning becomes almost impossible. This is why people in financial distress make decisions that seem irrational to outsiders. Payday loans with outrageous interest rates, lottery tickets, fast food instead of cooking at home. It's not stupidity, it's cognitive overload. The Boots theory isn't just about money, it's about mental energy. The wealthy don't just save money, they save bandwidth. The poor are stuck in a constant state of low-level panic. And the costs don't stop there. Cars cost more when you're poor. Housing costs more when you're poor. Even time costs more when you're poor. If you have a washer and dryer at home, laundry takes 5 minutes of effort. But if you rely on a laundromat, it costs you money and hours of your life. If you live in a food desert, getting affordable groceries might require buses, transfers, and lost time. Poverty adds friction to every part of daily existence. Everything takes longer. Everything is harder. And by stealing your time, poverty steals your future earning potential. So no, the system isn't fair, and pretending that it is helps no one. But understanding the math is the first step to escaping it. The goal at the beginning isn't getting rich, it's stopping the bleeding. That's why the first emergency fund matters so much. That first $1,000 isn't boring advice, it's a weapon. It turns disasters into inconveniences. It lets you avoid predatory fees, buy in bulk, fix small problems before they become massive ones. Liquidity changes the entire game. The real action step is simple but uncomfortable. Audit your life for poverty penalties. Identify where you're paying extra simply because you don't have money. High-interest debt, fees, disposable purchases that force repeat spending. Then cut everything else until you can eliminate one major leak. That's not deprivation, that's strategy. You don't escape the trap overnight. You escape it one decision at a time, one pair of boots at a time. The climb from zero is brutal, and the wind is always in your face at the start. But once you understand that being poor isn't a moral failing, it's a mathematical penalty, you stop blaming yourself and start attacking the system where it's weakest. You buy the boots that last. You buy the freedom to say no. And eventually, you walk your way out of the hole.